All right, let me go to Mr. Okezie, and you talked about oil prices earlier on, and how much of impact did this slide make on our market? We saw the budget for this year was actually revised twice, to accommodate the volatility in the crude oil market. But what impact did this make on the capital markets?
Well, for me, I think we're in for a bigger problem, trouble. As far as the oil decline, I think about 57 now. And the budgets have been tagged, I think, about 65 Naira per barrel, Maybe the government is going to go further down to, to adjust the price of the budget, And that also will affect the capital market. Since the government has been a big spender, and the contractors who did government one job, either the state government or federal, if they are not paid, how will the money spread coming to capital market? Because if somebody cannot float a new company, you buy into the existing company, and that via capital market, to buy the equity. But today, if the oil price are going down, those diving, and the government budget is not realistic, that means they're going to go further down and adjust, And if money is not flowing, how will people play the capital market? That's the issue. So we're in for bigger trouble, and I don't see that betting. Even in 2015, we're talking about. The 2015 is around the corner. We have talked about the election on the air, okay? Except we got a credible, fair and fair election where people vote will count at the end of the day. And Nigeria say, yeah, we are voting, this is the candidate who have been voted for, And that's the only way we can see adjustment and the market coming back gradually, Otherwise, the foreigners or portfolio investors, I call them, will continue to run away from our economy. And we are in a bigger problem because they know that the capital market in Nigeria ought to be doing well. I didn't paper study, they said Nigeria today is, in stock performance is the worst, the third among the country in the whole world today. They are worst in terms of performance, But in the past, we were almost the best in African continent. But what went wrong? Where we missed it? So this is a question we should be asking ourselves and provide solutions. The regulator have also failed. Kudos for Oscar, who came on board. That young man has been doing quite a lot, like he said, to shore up, the confidence of the investors. Something that went wrong. Either the Apex regulator missed it all, the pressure being mounted on the stock exchange, do this and that to the bidding, there should be less interference on day-to-day run of stock. If I'm sick, give them a breathing space. Let them do their own space,
interference.
Of course, when you're asking the broker to increase, it's interference, Despite the recapitalization they have, what is the need for recapitalization? How much do you ask people to repay?
Okay, let me bring in Dagogo.
It's unnecessary. It's uncalled for. It's interference.
Dagogo at this point. Interference. Was that interference? The recapitalization?
He can't say it because the license will be revoked.
Let's hear from him. I know you will have some comment about that. Well, was it interference? Because if you look at what's going on in the global marketplace, not just in Nigeria, there is the need to expand the operations of the capital market and even stockbrokers or your stockbroking firms. But would you term this an interference?
Well, everybody will have their views to these things depending on the perspective you want to look at it and the constituency you will represent. The regulator, the important thing is what they do. Is it within the law that set them up to do that? Okay. If they have come up with recapitalization, did they have the powers to do that? And is it meant to have a positive impact on the market? I would think so. I doubt that they would have intentions to run the market down. I would think that they have their mind set on positives. Our policies will generate positive results. But again, like that has been extended, the recapitalization. So I wouldn't particularly say it is interference, but I would say that within the ecosystem of the capital market, there will be clashes, and because roles and responsibilities will always clash. And the important thing, what is important in resolving this, and which we have seen, in this week where the SEC has moved recapitalization, is that ultimately the institutionalized process of wealth creation and distribution, which is the capital market, is it the better for it? by this decision.
Now, if we compare what's going on with the capital market with what happened in the banking sector, where we had recapitalization 3 years back, and the outcome of that, we had some banks merge, some were actually, saved. So the government had to buy into some banks at some point. Now, if you look at the outcome, the impact of that move by the Central Bank of Nigeria, by AMCOM coming in to buy bad debts, and look at what's going on right now in the capital market, what do you think, how would you compare both?
Well, they're not easily comparable because banks are supposed to have a public duty, right? You have to put your money there and keep it. Investment companies don't receive deposits from clients. That was what CBN was trying to uphold. Deposits must be safe, so we don't receive deposits. Okay, so they're not exactly the same, and so that public duty doesn't. So if you look at it from that perspective, what you want to say is this economy, this Nigerian economy, as it is today, structured today, what institutions, what operators, what participants will support it? What structures will help it? Okay, it is not about 70 million or 300 million. It's not about all. The question is today, the Nigerian economy, for example, is today what revised to be what 510 billion, GDP. But the market is somewhere just about 80-something billion. It's less than, somewhere around, that was even before, that was at the end of last quarter. So we're talking of a market that represents the economy just about 13%. So you see that when you look at that, the first problem will not be how to deal with the 13%, that is operating there. The first problem, first of all, should be how do you get the market? How do you get the market to represent the economy reasonably, 25%, 30% of the economy? When you do that, doesn't take away the fact that you must deal with the internal issues, of systems, operations, rules, and and all that. But it means that what is foremost is that the economy, the market, has to expand to accommodate, to represent the economy. Okay. The market isn't doing that. And so when you want to deal with the 13 or so percent, and you think that it will work for the economy, it's not going to work for the economy like that.
Okay, Mr. Okezie, let me come over to you. And I want us to talk about foreign investors, domestic investors. What do you think happened during the year? Of course, we all know that the foreign investors came in, they had cheap money, they had cheap interest rates from the various countries coming here to invest. What do you think was there any move by the authorities in the Nigerian capital market, because we're reviewing the year? I don't want us to move away from that. Were there any particular decisions moved that were taken by the authorities to, keep the domestic investors within the market?
Well, for me, they have not done well with the domestic investors. Rather,
because the foreign investors,
foreign investors have been taken over. They're not even foreign investors. These are portfolio investors. Let us define this things, foreign or those portfolio investors. Foreign investors are those who are bringing their capital to establish here. They stay longer a period, who create job, build industries. These are people who came with their briefcases. Okay, seize the opportunity that they couldn't obtain here. They could obtain here and go away. And when they see the price have gone up to the peak, they just say, look, it's even to make my money and exit the market. These are people dumping the market. But why the retail investors locally should have a compliment if they are dumping this people? They stay for long. People save for, they invest depending on the dividend, according to them, coming from the company. Since we know that company A, B is doing very well, they can pay dividend, because that's why the local investors invest for. Hardly sell their stocks, except, where problems is inevitable. They can raise money elsewhere. What do I invest? Let me sell my investments and recoup money to do something. That's why you see them selling their shares, okay? But not to the magnitude where we see a dumping of shares today. I say it's the dumping ground. But the local investors have encouraged, like we're talking about, recapitalization in the banking industry. What's the need for stockbrokers to capitalize? Because after 2009, the emerging trade are still hunting them, some of the brokers. They are not coming from that wood, because some of them who borrowed margin trade and they surrendered their equities to the banks, our privatization, the bank all could have sold, okay, Michael, I'm selling, but they're waiting when the stock they bought at 20 or 40 Naira will go to 100, 200. Some of them didn't sell, but today they have made that broker to force to pay.
Okay.
Okay, and coming in, ANCOM is not even for the best interest of this economy. ANCOM should be scrapped. IMF have said it, somebody outside the shore, not dictating for you what's happening in their own economy, that ANCOM should be scrapped. They have lived up to expectation. What do we still returning ANCOM? What are they doing? What are they contributing? The same bank that when debt problem, are still contributing to keep ANCOM afloat. So what's ANCOM doing? ANCOM have at least its usefulness, It's not a business, it don't help in the economy, ANCOM have pumped a lot of money into the system that today the government have been having that mountain to the mountain top,
Okay.
Creating problem for the government, The same ANCOM, So ANCOM should wind up its operation, for goodness sake. Okay. And we have a crisis, government is not listening. What we are saying here, it doesn't concern them. So the local investors should be encouraged to remain in the market. But how do we retain them? Because government had to revisit issue about nationalization of institutions. Those banking industries.
We're going to go on a break.
It's still haunting the market.
We're going to go on a break. We'll continue this conversation after the break. We've been talking about the capital market. That's the performance of the capital market for 2014. And we have in the studio Dagogo Iyomo, CEO Milestone Capital Management, and Boniface Okezie is the president of Progressives Shareholders Association. We'll be right back.